Sometimes we want patients to change much more than they do. In fact, with difficult issues like smoking or weight, sometimes it seems like our patients arrive ready for a fight. Our job is not to argue. You can remind the patient that they have the power to make decisions about their own health. You can also reflect back the patient's resistance. For instance, it sounds like you're really sure you don't want to quit. And you can ask the patient how you can help, what they're looking for from a healthcare provider. Behavior change is a negotiation, not an order that you give and the patient follows. Just acknowledging that it's up to the patient can disarm their resistance. Once they don't feel a need to defend themselves, there is room for them to actually consider making a change. It helps to remember that everyone is ambivalent. Part of them wants to change, and part of them does not. Your job is to avoid getting stuck in an argument with the part that likes the status quo, and instead to connect with the part that sees the value of change. You don't have to convince them. That part that values change is inside them already. You just have to find it and connect with it. So how do you find the part of the patient that can actually be your ally? Again, everything starts with listening. If you reflect back the patient's resistance, you don't get hooked into an argument. You just reflect without getting defensive, which helps the patient feel you are listening and decreases the intensity. In the meantime, you can listen for strengths that might help the patient move toward change. Here are some things you can listen for. Sometimes people have a desire for change, even though they might not feel they can. Other times, they express a need or reasons for change, even though they don't really want to. And even people who have decided not to change may be able to tell you about their ability. They know they could quit smoking if they wanted to. All of those are things that you can reflect and affirm. When patients have already made some changes, you can affirm their commitment to their health. You can reflect back activation, that the patient is someone who takes ownership of his or her own health. And you can affirm when a patient is taking steps toward change, even if they aren't completely there yet. These more active steps toward change are sometimes easier for us to see, but no matter where a patient is on the continuum of change, you can find some areas of strength to affirm. Being strengths-focused is an acquired skill. Psychotherapist Bill O'Hanlon says the best way to focus on strengths is to be a psychotic optimist. That's a person who refuses to be convinced that things are hopeless, no matter what facts there might be to the contrary. One of the greatest tools you have in your bag as a provider is hope. Hope is powerful. It is the third strongest factor that helps people change. The second strongest is a helping relationship. So whatever strengthens your relationship with a patient is what you should do. And the strongest factor of all are the patient's own ideas and plans. Your ideas and solutions to the patient's problems rank a distant fourth. Your job, then, is to build a strong relationship, to instill hope, and to draw out the patient's own good ideas. Arguments damage the relationship, and they don't get you where you want to go anyway. So listen, reflect, and focus on the patient's strengths. That gives you the best chance of getting to where you want to be.
Created using Powtoon.